Friends, welcome to Current Affairs series. Of course, Mantra IAS Academy. This is Bhupati Raj. So many fantastic questions. Almost all 80 bits have prepared. That's yesterday's and today's newspapers. In fact, May 20th and 21st. Baba here, 80 bits from 2 days newspapers in a fantastic manner. Of course, divided day-wise, of course, I've divided. And don't miss the video. Watch the whole thing. It's very helpful for all competitive examination from A to Z exams. So that's the main thing. Same style, I'll share the question paper to you and try all the questions here, my youngsters. Of course, the Prime Minister's visit, as you can see, that 5-nation tour. In fact, total 6 days, if I'm not wrong. A fantastic thing it is. He visited almost all. That started from UAE and it's a mini Europe trip. Of course, ended with the great, of course, Italy. So you know all the things already. So now the question number 1 here. The third India Nordic Summit was held in which city? This is of yesterday's newspapers information. That means 19th and 20. Again, 2021 is the concept here. The third India Nordic Summit was held in which city? Option A, Helsinki, B, Stockholm, C, Oslo, D, Copenhagen. But the answer is what? Of course, you know the capital of Norway, that's Oslo. It's a third India Nordic Summit. So what are the nations are actually? What are the members in this? Not actually the Nordic members. Even I have covered the same thing yesterday. Which of the following countries is not a Nordic country? Option A, Iceland, B, Finland, C, Netherlands, D, Denmark. But in this case, of course, I want to tell you that the nations Norway, Sweden, Denmark, Finland and Iceland are the members. So which is not in this? So this is Iceland as a member, Finland, Denmark. So answer is C, beta. This is not a, what do you say, that this Nordic member. So now I mentioned the other two nations also here, the Sweden, which is not mentioned here, and the Norway also. But then come to the point here. India and Nordic nations elevated their ties into which partnership? Option A, Strategic Defense Corridor, Green Technology and Innovation Strategic Partnership. So this is the right answer, beta. B is the confirmed answer in this case. The summit focused on sustainability, renewable energy, innovation and green growth. So that's a fantastic thing. So what do you have to write here? C, B. The next India Nordic Summit will be held in which city? Option A, Oslo, B, Reykjavik, C, Helsinki, D, Stockholm. This is what you can say the capital of Finland, it's Helsinki. Next Nordic Summit is an important question. Definitely there is a chance of asking this one better. So IMEC stands for, it's a very fantastic thing that it's of course India and Middle East and Europe through trade and connectivity network. That's exactly IMEC. So now you will definitely guess the answer here. That's India, Middle East, Europe Economic Corridor. So answer is C, my dear. FAO headquarters is located in. The reason behind this, our wonderful Prime Minister received a prestigious award from this one. That also in the next page. That's of 21st news I've covered. Implies today's newspaper mentioned it. So that was the reason. And yesterday FAO, of course it is in Rome, right? Headquarters in, what do you say, the Rome? So in Italy. So answer is better here. FAO headquarters is in, that is called as Food and Agricultural Organization. Like we know, different organizations are, UN bodies are, the United Nations bodies are there, different organizations. So ILO is in where, somewhere you can say that. Now you can say that the other one is the International Court of Justice, ICJ in one place, Geneva for many places, then WHO, like that, many things in same style. Regarding this, FAO's headquarters is in Rome, beta. Italy belongs to which international grouping? Option A, ASEAN, B, G7, and C, BRICS, D, SCO. In this case, of course, the grade 7, you can say G7 nations. The one nation, one election proposal mainly seeks presidential elections only, simultaneous Lok Sabha and Assembly elections, C, Panchayat elections every year, D, online elections. You know, beta, this is of course, ONOE, one nation, one election, conducting Lok Sabha and assembly elections together. So that's what you call simultaneous, you can say simultaneous Lok Sabha and assembly elections. Baba, the committee of course mentioned in a fantastic manner, we are going to save almost 2 lakh plus crores of money if we conduct, some I forgot the exact figure, but in the GDP point of view, I mentioned definitely, according to the JPC, Joint Parliamentary Committee, simultaneous elections may increase GDP growth by because by reducing that much of expenditure, automatically our GDP will raise. So that's almost 1.6% better. The committee estimated governance efficiency and reduced expenditure may boost GDP. So by that, what you can say, 1.6% of GDP will increase, you can imagine. So that's the reason we have to conduct compulsory. We need it. That's a big thing here. So that we have different type of arguments are there, pros are there, some converse, there's definitely negative points also there. So which article of the Constitution relates to right to life? So this is basically mentioned, of course, yesterday's judgment by the Supreme Court of India in the case of what you can the dogs case, street dogs case. That's if you go through that, you can get it. So anyhow, even I have covered that, which is the main focus was on fundamental duties. But article here is what? Right to life. Option A 14, Article 19, Article 21, and Article 32. Article 21 guarantees protection of life and personal liberty. So option is Article 21 better. Euthanasia means animal vaccination, mercy killing, animal sterilization, D medical quarantine. So better answer case is what? B. That is what you call mercy killing. Yes, that is nothing but intentionally ending life to relieve suffering. Then come to the point, rabies is primarily caused by fungus, protozoa, virus, bacteria. Beta, it's a very very serious issue. So answer is virus, my dear. This is a major reason that judgment of our wonderful Supreme Court is based on this only, beta. Now, which body issues heat wave alerts in India? That's, Niti Aayog, IMD, ISRO, CPS, CPCB. Answer is Indian Meteorological Department. So that is what you can say. IMD. DGCA functions under which ministry? Directorate General of Civil Aviation. Civil Aviation indicates that which ministry will definitely guess, my dear. That's Ministry of Civil Aviation. So this was a very unfortunate India incident last time. So Boeing 787 and killing of almost all except one. That survivor was just only one person. So therefore, it's a very severe crash. Unfortunate. It's a very unfortunate thing in this. Of course, majority, almost all, including Chief Minister of Gujarat, the former Chief Minister of Gujarat also there. So it's a big issue. If you go through that, we'll get all the data. Boeing 787 is primarily a fighter jet, cargo helicopter, passenger aircraft. So that's point beta. So this is the news, of course. Now, BRICS Summit in 2026 will be held in which city? Moscow, Beijing, New Delhi, Johannesburg. Beta, you know the answer for this question. Our wonderful capital is New Delhi. Then which Russian leader confirmed participation in BRICS Summit? And obviously the premier, you can say the president of Russia. So that's called as Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin. World Health Assembly is associated with, the headquarters of WHO in Geneva. Even I'll ask in the today's, of course, second part of that. So here, the World Health Assembly is associated with UNESCO, WHO, UNICEF, and WTO. But the answer for this question is WHO. Now the question number 19, thanks to is the Annapurna scheme. The Annapurna scheme was announced by which state government? That's West Bengal. This is, of course, the concern, the BJP government in West Bengal. They promised in their electoral, right at the time of elections promises, so they did it. So under Annapurna scheme, eligible women will receive how much of money here? Option A 1,000, B 2,000, C 3,000, D 5,000. But the answer for this question is 3,000 rupees. DBT stands for, it's a major development. In previously, we used to give hand-to-hand the cash, but after DBT, there is, of course, a very curtail of what you can say misuse of this particular thing. So DBT stands for direct benefit transfer. The concerned beneficiary will receive the money directly and that amount will be credited in his own bank account. Which Indian minister visited Vietnam and South Korea recently? Amit Shah, Rajnath Singh, Piyush Goyal, and Jai Shankar. But our excellent, this is what you can say, Defense Minister Rajnath Singh. Then even I'll cover today's, of course, what the agreements and which applications I'll cover in next week, just next after 40 bits. The total 80 bits, observe this thing. The Indo-Pacific strategy mainly concerns, yes, Arctic cooperation, maritime security, desert trade routes, and D is better, space exploration. No doubt this is maritime security. 23rd is maritime security, my dear. Then 24th question, which region is strategically important in India-Vietnam cooperation? India-Vietnam, that's very important point, please. Now, when you focus on these things, that concerns very crucial. So, Mediterranean Sea, Baltic Sea, at the same time South China Sea. So that is the answer here. Black Sea is not the answer. South China Sea is correct answer. Which organization regulates global civil aviation standards? ICAO, WHO, and you can say that IMF and UNESCO. Beta, answer for this question is International Civil Aviation Organization. ICAO stands for International Civil Aviation Organization. So therefore, they set aviation standards globally. So the answer is ICAO, Baba. Then come to the point of question number 26 here. Which article mentions compassion towards living creatures as a fundamental duty? Yes, that's a reason people filed the case on this particular thing. So 51 AG. Then blue economy primarily refers to river cleaning, B, ocean resource sustainability, digital economy, and you know that is of course inland waterways only. Better answer no doubt in this case is ocean resource sustainability. B is correct answer, my youngsters. Which country hosts the India Nordic Summit? Just I mentioned the capital is Oslo for that country. Answer is Norway. Then 29th question, which Indian cricketer was appointed captain for the Afghanistan series? Yes, option A, KL Rahul, B, Rohit Sharma, C. Shubman Gill, D. Hardik Pandya. So, beta, you know the answer for this question is Shubman Gill. Then 30th question. Vaibhav Suryavanshi is associated with which sport? You know the reason, because why I asked that, hey, I'm asking this question means he's a sensational guy and doing wonders, of course, in the cricket actually. People are shocking about his wonderful capacity. Just if he comes to the batting, if he just stays for some time, issue over. So that's option A, hockey, B, tennis, C, cricket. You know the answer for this question is cricket, beta. Then come to the point, question number 31. Which of the following is a Nordic capital city? Option A, Oslo, B, Helsinki. Yes, answer I just mentioned already. In this case, of course, beta, and Reykjavik, all of the above. Yes, exactly. Because Nordic capital city, all of the above correct answer, beta. Because one nation, everything has their own capital here. So Nordic capital is nothing but everything is correct answer here. Then 32nd question. Which institution recommended simultaneous elections over the years? Yes, I'll repeat the question. Which institution recommended simultaneous elections over the years? Election Commission, Law Commission, Parliamentary committees, and all of the above. Yes, but I want to tell you in this case also very interesting point. All mentioned. All of the above is important. Which institution recommended implies every organization is recommending that. The term rule-based international order refers to option A, military dominance by powerful nations, international relations governed by agreed laws and norms. Yes. So this is what you can say. It emphasizes international law, sovereignty, equality, and multilateral cooperation. So option is what? International relations governed by agreed laws and norms. Baba, now in this case, what I am taking here, some extra questions, of course, focusing upon what is regarding, and it is especially, these are excluding, of course, specifically for CLAT questions. Already some questions are mentioned already that I am taking continuity of the number, think of the number, it's not a matter. Which principle is involved when courts balance animal welfare and human society? Judicial review, doctrine of proportionality, separation of powers, basic structure doctrine. But our answer for this question, definitely doctrine of proportionality. This is purely regarding law entrance exams. So just I've taken 4-5 questions here. Then later I'll start the next 21st date. That is today's newspaper information. I'll ask you that. Simultaneous elections would mostly likely require constitutional amendments, dissolution of parliament, presidential rule, and judicial appointments. No doubt you know the answer is what actually constitutional amendment. Then 32nd, public interest litigation, PIL, is mainly intended to protect, yes, corporate interests, safeguard public welfare and rights, yes, resolve private disputes only, protect foreign citizens only. Beta, you know the answer for this question, safeguarding public welfare and rights. So option is B, my youngsters. Then go to question number, next one. Which concept is central to debates on AI governance? So option A, monopoly trade, B, ethical regulation, C, colonial administration, D, judicial appointments. But ethical regulation. So B, right answer, my friends. Then go to next one here. Which Supreme Court stay dog ruling primarily concerns which constitutional value? Option A, federalism, B, judicial federation, C, right to life and public safety. Yes, that is very important because, of course, people are telling many things about this one, but the right of consent fellow is very important. Supreme Court also, right, spoke on this issue very seriously that, of course, you are the lovers of these animals will accept, but who the fundamental right is their right to life. Children's law, of course, that so many young children lost their life because of this dog bites and all. You know the reason. So no need of discussing again. That's argument from the Supreme Court of India. Yes. Now today's questions, beta. India and Italy recently elevated their bilateral ties to which level? Option A, Comprehensive Economic Partnership. B, Global Democratic Alliance, Special Strategic Partnership. Oh, beta, this is very important point, of course. That is what you can say. India and Italy elevated their relationship to Special Strategic Partnership during Prime Minister Modi's visit to Rome. Remember. So this partnership covers which areas, sir? Defense, technology, and critical minerals, agriculture, at the same time maritime cooperation and cultural engagements. So I'm going to ask you which areas, of course, cultural like that. Fantastic questions are there, beta. The India-Italy Joint Strategic Action Plan covers which period? Option A 24-28, 2025-29. So that's the answer here. D529 provides a roadmap for strengthening bilateral ties between India and Italy. So option is B, my youngsters. Now, which corridor was specifically discussed during Prime Minister Modi's Italy visit? INSTC, BCIM corridor, IMEC. I mentioned already in my previous, of course, that today's question, previous, that means what before for this paper. So today's information only. That's IMEC stands for India, Middle East, Europe Economic Corridor. This aimed at what? Enhancing connectivity and trade between India, the Middle East, and Europe. So that's what I can say. IMEC, right answer, better. India and Italy declared which year as the Year of Culture and Tourism, remember? It's a very important question. There is a chance of asking this question generally. 2027, my youngsters. Prime Minister Modi received which prestigious award from FAO? Of course, I just told you that Food and Agriculture Organization, that's ultimately of FAO. That what's the name of that concerned award? So the honor, the highest honor. This is what you can say in agriculture. Agricole Medal is the name. Yes, Prime Minister Modi received which prestigious award? That is, yes, Agricola Medal. Agricola Medal is the highest honor conferred by this FAO and FAO Director General of for contributions towards food security and sustainable agriculture. So that food security concept even till date, even we are giving, of course, almost around 80 crores of population are benefiting because of this what food supply. That ration shops and all you have idea now. Public distribution system. The headquarters of FAO is located in Rome. Yes, now come to the point of the seventh question. Which Indian defense organization successfully tested UAV launched precision guided missile V3? Beta, it's a very fantastic question, of course. ISRO, HAL, and DRDO. This is the answer, beta. Defense Research and Development Organization conducted successful trials of the UAV launched precision guided missile V3. So, Baba, now the DRDO missile trials were conducted near Pokhran, Balasore, Kurnool, and Leh. The missile trial took place in DRDO, the DRDO test range near Kurnool in Andhra Pradesh. Beta. Option is C. Then which DRDO laboratory developed the missile system? ADE Bengaluru, DRDL Hyderabad, RCI Hyderabad. Yes, beta, RCI. That is called as Research Center Imarat. RCI stands for what? Research Center Imarat. Then which initiative does the missile project strongly support? Make in Europe, Digital India, Atmanirbhar Bharat. Yes, that's what actually Atmanirbhar Bharat. Bharat Dynamics BDL, Bharat Dynamics Limited, is primarily associated with banking, missile manufacturing, telecommunication, and shipping. No doubt the answer, of course, missile manufacturing. It's a what you can say, BDL is a major Indian defense public sector undertaking involved in missile production, remember. That's a big thing, beta. Then go to question number 12. The Supreme Court recently upheld the center's decision regarding, yes, simultaneous elections, uniform civil code, caste enumeration. Already, I think the houses enumeration started. Majority people are visiting different houses and they are estimating, and of course, the living conditions of where you can see the houses condition. Now later the second stage is census. So in that census, what do you call here? The population census. What is that? The number of people living in the concerned house. That's the data. You know that. So that will be including one point is caste of the concerned person. So that's what you can say that Supreme Court means that was supported that they have upheld that the decision of the Supreme Center. Then the compulsory rest period for outdoor workers in Delhi is between because very severe weather conditions. So the Delhi has taken one wonderful step that 1 to 4 they have to take rest better. That's a very important point is option. Nobody should work in this between 1 and 4. Now, which ministry coordinated with Meta, Google and Telegram regarding fake NEET leak rumors? Ministry of Information Technology, Ministry of Education. The problem is with this, so answer is what Ministry of Education beta. Yes, Falta Assembly constituency is located. Today is 21st, still it is going on. I think if I am not wrong, by this time it will be finished. The elections might be. In fact, especially only one constituency in West Bengal, that's the place Falta Assembly constituency. Now elections are this is of course, but the process is I think it's continuing that. So that's in which state in place, in West Bengal, that is South 24 Parganas district, right? So that's what actually a West Bengal beta. India criticized which country at the UNSC open debate? China, Turkey, Pakistan, and Iran. Beta, definitely our unfortunate fellow is Pakistan. Then next one here. India's permanent representatives to the United Nations is what's the name of the personality? T.S. Tirumurti. Next one. Ruchira Kamboj and Harish. Yes, Parvatneni. Answer is Harish Parvatneni, correct answer. According to the United Nations report, India's projected growth rate for 2026 is 5.2 percentage, 5.8 and 6.4 percentage. Exactly right, beta. United Nations projected India to remain the world's fastest growing major nations, or you can say major economy, at 6.4 percentage. That's enough for India, of course. Now you will witness, and you are witnessing that. Which social media platform was specifically mentioned regarding fake exam groups? X, next one Snapchat, B Telegram, C Telegram, D LinkedIn. Now answer is of course we have that C Telegram. The Indian South Korea defense talks took place in, yes, because South Korea concept, the capital of that place, definitely the Seoul. Next, my youngsters. Which agreement was exchanged between India and South Korea? Space Cooperation Treaty, Nuclear Cooperation Pact, Defense Cyber Cooperation Agreement, Maritime Fishing Agreement. Answer is Defense Cyber Cooperating Agreement. Then better 22nd. Which organization conducts India's census? Yes, Niti Aayog, Registrar General and Census Commissioner. Yes, Registrar General and Census Commissioner is right answer. Which country currently holds the presidency of the Council of the European Union? Italy, Greece, Cyprus, Germany. None of answer for this question is Cyprus. President Nikos belongs to which countries? Naturally, what you can say that? Cyprus. Then, which country shares approximately 2,200 kilometers border with West Bengal? Our state is what, of course, border with this neighboring nation, Bangladesh, beta. D is the right answer. Which organization? It's a very current, of course, very important news. And West Bengal government handed over the complete concerned land to the BSF, better to construct this actually. Right, the fencing, or you can say whatever the government is there, fencing only as of now. Which organization is responsible for border fencing management? BSF. Then, which economic indicator showed 1.7 growth in April? That is what you can say GDP, WPI, and index of 8 core industries. Exactly. 8 core industries. Now you can check that cement, iron, cement, or all electricity, all comes under that one. Which currency pair was mentioned due to rupee depreciation? In IN, Indian rupee euro, Indian rupee yen, Indian rupee dollar. INR dollar is right answer beta. Then 29th question. Which AI related development was highlighted in newspapers? So that's of course AI medical surgery, AI powered farming. Google redesigned search for AI era. That's the right answer. The term egocentric data refers to option A, selfish economic policy, first person recordings of human activity. This is right answer beta. Then 31st question, which Indian city hosted the India-South Korea Defense Industry Round Table? Option A. So beta, in this case, one mistake from my side, Indian is wrong. Which city is enough? Because it's a printing mistake. Which city? I just already have asked the question, of course, you know that one. Which city hosted the India-South Korea Defense Industry Round is Seoul. South Korea, I mentioned, no? And this is what the mistake, of course, printing mistake from my side. Which organization issued advisory regarding cosmetics use? BIS CDSCO. CDSCO stands for Control Organization. In fact, Central Drugs Standard Control Organization. C for Central, D for Drugs, S for Standard, and C for Control, D, that is what you can say, Control Organization. This is what CO, no? CDS, I'll repeat again. C for Central, D for Drugs, yes. And S for Standard, C for Control, O for Organization. So CDS, CO beta. Then, now come to the point. The headquarters of DRDO is located in Bengaluru, Hyderabad, New Delhi. Of course, you know the answer is New Delhi, my dear. Which international grouping involving China and Russia was mentioned? Quad, ASEAN, BRICS, NATO. Answer is BRICS beta. The name itself is B for Brazil, R for Russia, I for India, C for China, S for South Africa. So option is that only. Donald Trump is expected to attend which summit in France? NATO summit, G20 summit, G7 summit. This is correct answer. Then Ebola outbreak deaths increased in which countries? Sudan, Congo, and Kenya, Nigeria. Better answer is Congo. Then which neighboring country also reported Ebola cases? Rwanda, Tanzania, Uganda, and Zambia. Better answer is Uganda. 38th question. Which Indian company partnered for indigenous missile production? Option A, Miss Infosys, B, TCS, C, BDL, Bharat Dynamics Limited, and the ONGC. Better answer for this question is, of course, yeah, BDL, Bharat Dynamics Limited, partnered with DRDO. So answer is BDL. Which sport is associated with IPL? It's definitely cricket, Nanda. The last question of course today. Which institution handles weather forecasting in India is IMD? I already different questions, same point I've asked you that. So these are the questions of today and yesterday's newspapers, of course, the 2 days data. And just follow my channel regularly, my youngsters. You will get almost all updates in the same fashion. We are covering in this case what actually the news, in fact, the focusing areas I'm taking, I'm covering that. Have a great time. God bless you. Everybody will meet with another video tomorrow or day after. Bye-bye.